This is the playtest of The Lands Remaining, Part 9. A couple of housekeeping things. It's been a little bit since we've played, so we're going to do kind of extra thorough recap, I think, just to make sure we're all on the same page with things. Also, sadly, we don't have Alexander anymore, so our poor nameless Shelf, or maybe not poor, maybe Shelf is doing better than anyone by having retired to the homoerotic undead village. So good for Shelf. I'm glad they have that. So with all that said, though, let's kick off with the old fire.
Sure. Narrate a flashback to a time your light revealed something that was not meant to be seen. What was it? What were the consequences? Gavin walks through golden fields. A silver river branches through it calmly, carrying the woven baskets the farmers use to transport their bounty. Like festival garlands, vines bearing fruits the size of his fists are draped along high, ornate trellises. All the world seems golden here, rich and gentle. When Gavin and Ruvain pass, the farmers halt for a moment in their work, curious and delighted at their coming. She shall be a goddess, they whisper. They have come to light her fire. Gavin lifts his chin, squares his shoulders, tries very hard to look as stately and confident as Ruvain beside him. It comes natural to Ruvain. For Gavin, it's an effort. She stands at the top of stairs made from the precious stones they fish out of the river here, and she too is golden, completely naked but for the mosaic of colorful jewelry pressed into her skin. She looks like the stained glass of the temple she welcomes them to. The locals call her the Lady of the Golden Grain, and the waxen order has come to illuminate her soul. The temple has a great hearth, as is customary, to honor the flames of the world's god amongst gods. The old fire, although none call it that yet, burns in all temples and in all hearts, and none can be divine without its grace or permission. Gavin places the kindling and the candles in the hearth, and the lady, casting her colorful shadows, steps within it. Her eyelashes flutter like butterfly wings. When Gavin anoints her heart with wax, he can feel it thunder under his fingers. The fire will light the spark of her divinity, exalt her into the light, or devour her completely. He thinks of the horror of the cave and thinks, she is right to be terrified. He wishes he could comfort her, but she is no longer at his mercy. Only the fire can embrace her now. So Gavin steps back, and on Ruvain's signal lowers his ever-burning branch. The kindling does not catch, but the Lady of the Golden Grain opens her mouth in a scream and light pours out. Her butterfly eyelashes are still now, her eyes wide open and bright as a summer sun. Fire dances across her body. He watches. He cannot look away. Like watching a night sky and suddenly recognizing a constellation, he sees the fire now for what it is, a soul manifest. He sees it reach across time and space, every other soul she has ever touched, the farmers, the fishermen, the merchants, a spark leaping and leaping until it has covered the world. But this too he sees. Something sleeps beneath the grains and the grass. It is not her divinity that brings this abundance. All that is grown here is grown off the back of a creature he has no name for, something ancient and unknown, but with a soul that glows quietly in the dark. He feels Ruvain's hand on his shoulder. Usually it would make his heart sore, but now it feels heavy. When it is done and the feasting begins, Gavin cannot eat. Ruvain tells him that sometimes the fire shows them things they must bear alone. Sometimes the truth is to be endured. But Gavin cannot bear it, not alone. There is a creature underneath his feet, and why did the fire show him that, if not to save it? Why did the fire exalt the Lady of the Golden Grain, if not to awaken the creature and free it? He tells her this, and she is silent. He does not know it yet, but the words will sit like slow poison in her vein. The truth will spread like fire and consume everything. She will not be able to bear it, that her divinity is at the cost of something alive and alone. Every breath will become uncertain as she wonders, when will it wake? When will it want revenge? Some will no longer wish to work the lands. Some will no longer wish to worship her. The crops will start to fail. The fruits will start to rot. The farmers will turn into killers. But Gavin will be gone, and this the old fire will teach him. Some truths are to be endured, and some truths he will be protected from.
Fantastic, thank you. Let's recap. So, taking a look at our active mysteries first. We have the Moldering Court. Oh no, that's resolved. We have the Whitewood, the Branch Torn Knight, and the Umber Slade. The Whitewood, you have, including the two clues that I'm about to give you, you have 6 clues on that. And you still have the threshold question of how can the Silvercut Lodge be accessed. You'll recall that the Luminians have like stationed themselves above the Whitewood and are hunting the undead for some unknown purpose. And we know that they're in their sort of like their strange lodge above the tree line, but we don't know how to get there. And so that's the first question. You do have the original 4 clues you had were burial bindings on a side character's wrists, a strong scent of quicksilver. This was after tasting the moss from the green grace tree. Alaric's paintings of the Silvercut Lodge always have the blue moon in the sky. And then the Luminians use dark star arrows, which the undead believe give them the ability to see over long distances. I also owe you 2 clues from chatting with Vera. And this is what Vera, we're not going to roleplay that. I'm just going to tell you what Vera reveals. Vera tells you a story that the Black Cortege knows, which is the Whitewood birch trees first appeared when the blue moon first appeared. So that's interesting because it implies the blue moon hasn't always been in the sky, and these birch trees appeared at the same time. The other thing that she will tell you is that a once living creature's natural pupil is crescent shaped after death. That's something the Black Cortege is very aware of because they hunt the recently dead that are no longer dead. She might even show you in a looking glass that your own eyes, at least those of you who are dead, of course, Old Smoke is not technically undead, right? Even though he has the old fire in him. You might see that your own eyes have a slight crescent shape in the pupil. Those are your 6 clues. Plenty of clues to open up the Silvercut Lodge. So I think you all can do that pretty directly, and then get on to the next question. The Branch Torn Knight. No clues so far on for the question, how can you prove yourself worthy to the Branch Torn Knight? This is basically the idea here is that the Branch Torn Knight is somewhere in the Great Forest challenging people to duels, and people are showing up and dying. And that's sort of just the deal going on there, and you're going to go get involved in it. That's all we know so far. The Umber Slade, you have 1 clue that you're going to get from Periwinkle, but first, I want to know, Gavin, what does it look like when you successfully burn away the bloom rot?
Yeah, I think he was holding Periwinkle's hand, and I think he just like very gently like rubs his thumb over like where the veins start, like where he can feel the pulse. And then I think there's almost like this kintsugi like effect, like all the veins on Periwinkle's body will just certainly glow and do that like fantasy lava crackling through the volcano bit. And I think like there's just that for a moment, and it probably hurts. Like I imagine that it actually feels like his veins are on fire. Like it is literally burning it out. But then it quiets again. And I think there's still like a faint glow, and it might feel like slightly warmer to the touch. Like it is continuously burning out to bloom rot, but then I think it will be gone.
So you had gotten a 12 plus on that roll, and I'm going to say that you get a clue from this as well as your bonus for the 12 plus. We're gonna not have a further follow up scene. I think this is plenty to learn here. I will tell you that clue. After you burn away the bloom rot, there is a tattoo remaining on his arm, and the tattoo is a story, a sort of not quite an epic poem. There's not that much room on his arm, but a sort of ode, I suppose, called "The Seeds of Danu." Out of character, we know that this is a clue for the Umberslade. In character, I don't know if your characters necessarily know the connection yet, but the Seeds of Danu is your clue. I'm not going to give you any more extra scenes. We're going to kind of fast forward, but I will say this to you, Gavrin. Before you leave the Morning Tower, Periwinkle will confess to you that as of late, he's been having dreams, emerald dreams of the Green Dragon. Just a little note. Let's check in with the characters at this point. So, right now, Old Smoke, you are marked by Lady Verdanth. I need to be reminded what exactly happened. Didn't you, like, injure her, or she got injured or something? And what was the exact
Yeah, we had
circumstances there?
station, and I brought her basically down to the ground and could have taken her life,
She
but
was, like, paralyzed,
let
right?
her let her go with mercy. I paralyzed her with a hit to the spine.
Yeah.
We exchanged stories, and she touched my heart, and I let her go.
Right.
And I originally had been marked by her order, but the intimacy of our exchange, we changed it to be her specifically.
Interestingly, I actually think Lady Verdanth is a woman of honor. Just because she's a servant of the of the Dominion doesn't mean she's evil necessarily. And I actually think that you having that condition is what has generally kept the Emerald Knights off your back. Why you haven't like had to deal with them more. I think it would be different if you had the other conditions still. And so there's just one thing worth keeping in mind.
Is
You
that like a don't touch me, or more like a he is mine?
I don't know. We'll see, but I like the idea of that. You did establish your own shrine at the Morning Tower, so you, in addition to three more marks on the old fire and four more marks on the fire to come, you have this extra mark for your personal shrine. You have also marked a cinder, the kindly old man. He who is unseen can still see. So anytime that you or I think that that cinder is in play when you do a die roll, you roll cinder instead of the presumed stat. Let's see, what else do we need to know about Old Smoke? Are there any moves or scenes you're kind of looking to do here?
No, I'm hoping that we're able to solve one of our mysteries today, but aside from that, I'm open to anything.
I think if you focus on Whitewood, you should be able to knock that out today, even with our kind of slightly shorter play time today. Get awfully close if not. You could still, even honestly, even if you just sent two to the Whitewood, you'd probably be in good shape as far as that goes. Uh, oh, I didn't, in my recap of the mysteries, I didn't talk about the countdowns. We probably ought to mention the countdowns. So, the Umberslade cannot receive countdown marks because it's still the new mystery, so we don't have to worry about that. The Branch Torn Knight, however, the first journey you take now will start to mark countdown. It has up to five, but it gets to be a problem at three. So when a third mark gets marked, one of your supplicants stupidly tries to challenge the Branch Torn Knight. And so just know that. And but you've got a couple to go, so there's not super time pressure there. The Whitewood's a slightly different situation. You have three more marks on the Whitewood. available, or basically you can take 2 more journeys before that's done. If you end up marking all 5 boxes on this, you can no longer resolve the mystery, and essentially the Luminians get destroyed as a species. So that is kind of what's at stake there. Um, the way I'm kind of going to play it is whenever that 5th mark gets marked, you have until the end of that session to resolve the mystery, basically. Um, so know that when you get ready to split up here in a moment, or if you're all going together, if you split up, that's multiple journey marks and that's multiple countdown marks. So keep that in mind. If you go to 3 different places, for example, you will have to solve the Whitewood this session. If you go to just 2 different places, you're okay for a minute, but you will need to get it solved pretty quickly. So just a quick
And
reminder about that.
question about that. Elegy counts as one journey to and from
To
as
and
well,
from, yes, but you will have to take a journey to go wherever you're going from
post
here.
elegy. Okay.
Right. So
Okay.
like you have to, so like if you decide 2 of you want to go to the Whitewood, then the 2 of you have to take a journey. If one of you decides to go to Branch Torn Night, that person has to take a separate journey. So
Got it.
yeah.
It's good
Speaking
for
of the
me to have
journeys,
journeys.
do what?
Good for me to have journeys. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
yeah, exactly. Speaking of the journeys, you have currently, apart from Pale Crossing, you have one other journey that you're making progress on, which is the ruins of Castle Breaken. You've done 2 of the 4 marks there. So, all right, let's keep going with character recap. Nazelle of the Red Canopy, you have 3 conditions. Did that bruised ribs condition happen before the 3-year time jump?
It did,
You can
yes.
go ahead and clear it then. I
Okay,
think that's
thanks.
probably okay. But you still have Shaken Faith and the Curse of House Durellin. The Curse of House Durellin, I'm not. What do we think about that? Um, do
I
you
don't
still have it?
know.
I don't know.
I
I don't
don't
know.
know.
Maybe you need to have a campfire scene like to talk it out or something. I think that might be what's
Right.
needed.
And
Yeah.
I did pick up from that struggle an artifact that is kind of connected to House Durellin. So I think I've given myself some opportunities in the
To,
future. I don't know if I'm there yet.
I think you
So,
can. Yeah. I mean, I think just a conversation at camp will probably help you
okay.
clear it. You have added the roots to your Sacred Ash sapling, which ends up being Fenn's guts. um, so that's great. And the sapling itself is kind of fundamentally connected to Fenn the Gravedigger, which is an interesting detail. And you have marked you also have a Shrine's Fire. You still have 5 marks left on the old fire and 3 marks left on the fire to come and your Shrine's Fire. And you've marked the Cruciform Grove. Pain properly placed sanctifies the world. Is there anything else you need to know about, or do you have any moves or scenes you want to have?
I would love to crucify someone today if the
That
opportunity
feels
arises.
doable. Yeah, it feels
Yeah.
like that feels like it can happen. Gavrin the Everlit. You have 3 conditions, and I fear you have not shaken any of them yet. You are Herald of the Kindled Heart, the Lost Queen, and Eyes of Purple Flame. I think the Lost Queen one can be resolved pretty easily with the make camp because it's kind of the aftermath of because the 2 of you haven't really had a chance to talk about the aftermath of that situation with the seething dark. So just a thing. Um, let's keep going. You have 1 wax that you've marked, so you have 2 wax remaining. Let's see. I'm just kind of looking at details here. You have 5 marks remaining on the old fire and 3 on the fire to come, and you also have Shrine's Fire established, or you have your personal shrine rather. You currently have the Kindled Heart marked to bear light is to burn, but you do have 6 marks on the Kindling Gate. Do you want to clear those to go ahead and unclear the cinder?
It's, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that it's better to keep it marked because then I can roll with it, and then if we should need it to like bump,
Yeah, you can do it whenever you
I
want.
can basically be like immediately like,
Right.
okay, unmark it,
But you're
mark it,
not
we
you're
get the
not earning
bump.
any more of the 6 marks though.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the one
Uh,
little rub there.
I'll keep it.
Okay. Did you have any scenes or moves you want to do today?
Um, if there is an opportunity, I would love to use my Beacon Most Lonely, but I'm
Oh,
not
let's
super married to it.
let's be
Yeah.
reminded what that does. If I remember correctly, this is basically like the vessel move, right?
Yeah, it's I can walk through a location, but no other embers can be present,
Mhm.
and then my candle will bring the dark things of the world to me, and I can ask them
I
questions.
mean, if you go to the Branch Torn Night while the others go to the Whitewood, I think you're going to have the chance
Yeah,
to do that, right? So that's just maybe one thing to keep
yeah.
in
But
mind.
I'm also like, I want to hang out with the characters because it's been so long, so I'll
Fair
see.
enough. Oh, one other thing that you can go to. You have your three mysteries, but also you have Gilvin the Vine Twined as well. You know about a struggle out in the world. These standalone struggles, the reason why you might do them, apart from just cool storytelling reasons, they always have a reward attached to them. So that's a reason to go fight. This sort of like they're essentially side bosses, I guess. In video game parlance, they would be like an optional boss, an optional quest, right? So you have Gilvin the Vine Twined out there as well, which requires you to take a journey to reach it. Take a look at what has to happen next. If you wish, you can mark new elective end of session questions. Do we have any moves that trigger at the start of session? In that case, we will kind of fast forward. Is there anything left to do on Elegy? I don't think so, but well, in which case we'll kind of see you all traveling back on Pale Crossing. A quick paint the scene question. Maybe you didn't realize it before, but you're realizing it now. How do you know suddenly, or now, that these Pale Crossing journeys take years to accomplish?
Most of the time, as we're going through the water, the surface of the water is just flat and empty and there's nothing. But if you're paying attention, occasionally you'll see things that kind of drift by that indicate the passage of seasons. Like you'll see, dried autumn leaves, and then you'll see like algae bloom and everything if you're paying attention and watching for it.
I think with Gavrin's new instability of body, let's call it that. I think before this he didn't notice, but now he notices that he like has to sort of stand under the ever burning branch occasionally to get more wax on him as it like drips and oozes away, and he has to sort of reconstitute himself. And I think maybe the others too, like there is like it's not like every month or so. Like it is a nebulous amount of time, but we do notice like you have to do it quite a few times. Like this is taking longer than just a boat ride.
I think because of Old Smoke being so long living, that the passage of time doesn't mean the same for him, or he's not really conscious of it in the way that most people are. But now this is the third Pale Crossing with Gavrin and Naziselle, and he bears the weight of other people, and it eats time to be with with others for such a long journey. He's forgotten conversation that he usually never has, that he now grows tired of, trapped in this boat.
I think when you arrive back at the lands remaining on a shore near the Great Forest, you'll see evidence of Noxiliax's growing influence over the land. He is the lord of this land, after all. Though the dragon himself is very rarely seen, if ever, you will notice changes. And this time you're going to notice that the animals, you'll find dead baby animals, deer, skunk, foxes, dead and apparently born with vestigial scales, glassy eyes, maybe even like little nubs of horn or wings. These. It's almost like in the same way that Noxiliax himself can't have thriving clutches. It's like the beasts of the great forest also cannot. And part of the reason why they cannot is because the babies are being born with this like sort of emerald disease, right? Where are you going?
Since Nazelle was the one who left Shelf in the Whitewood, if anyone wants to go to Shelf, I think I would guide them to kind of where I left him. If not, then we can go elsewhere.
So it sounds like Nazelle's going to the Whitewood.
Well, only if Gavrin or Old Smoke are interested in following up on like what Shelf's been doing for a decade. If not, then we can go somewhere
Yeah,
else.
I think
I don't care.
Gavin might be like, "Hey, we we just left Shell for 3 years at least, maybe 4, maybe 5, who
Who knows,
knows?"
really?
We show up and he's like has kids, this little house, cottagecore interlude.
Yeah, so if Gavrin is interested in following up, then we can go to the Whitewood.
Old Smoke, where are you going to head then? Oh, Ken, you kind of froze up for a second. Where are you headed, Old
Yeah,
Smoke?
I would agree with that. Whitewood, I'd like to finish the mystery. I'm less concerned about Shelf, but I like to finish the mystery.
Absolutely. I guess the next question for you all is, by which way are you traveling? You can go stop. You can go by way of the ruins of Castle Breaken, as you've been doing, and make one more progress on that, or you can do a brand new journey.
Either one is okay with me right now.
I kind of like following up on the castle one, mostly because I'm interested to see what happens if we do all of them. So,
Very good.
I
And
think
that one
Castle
does have an additional paint the scene question now because I have killed a martyr at it.
Oh, what is that?
It is how has the Crux Druid's right affected the land
Oh, good.
for all future journey prompts
Just for that location, though,
for that location.
or for
Yeah.
that place. Yeah. Okay, good. Interesting. So you're all traveling to the Whitewood, and if it hasn't become totally clear yet, it should be starting to become more clear now. Time works on a different scale here. What maybe we thought were journeys taking place in days, weeks at most, might in fact actually be taking months. As you travel through the land, there's more evidence of Noxiliax's growing power and presence. For a start, you routinely see Emerald Knight patrols. That's one thing. They do kind of leave you alone. They're not bad. They're just doing their duty, although it's unclear who's giving them their orders or why they're doing it. But they do tend to like post up at intersections of trails and things, and you'll also see more of these fanatical green embers. I think we've met one of the green embers, if I'm not mistaken, the Scale Blessed Pilgrim. You don't see him necessarily, but you do see other, frankly, they're kind of lunatics, praying at sites of so-called green grace. They consider themselves the true green embers, you'll recall. The lands remaining doesn't really have much by way of civilization left. The world has never really moved on from the Timning. But you might encounter little clutches of, I wouldn't say they're really villages, just more like very tiny settlements. At one settlement, you actually see a group of pilgrims who have refused to take shelter under a roof, claiming that it's best to sleep under the worm's green gaze. You'll see more of these animals as I've described them. Some of them survive. You might encounter a deer with glassy green eyes, or a fox trying to make his undersized leathery wings work, but it just looks kind of like a chicken trying to take flight, hopping, you know.
Can I ask, is it clear if we pass a site of green grace, can we recognize it, or is it only the presence of these green embers that kind of gives away what it is?
I possibly you could recognize it. Yeah, yeah.
I would like to desecrate it.
Okay, sure. I will let you desecrate it. I will give you. I think I'm gonna make you marked by the green embers, if you're okay with that. But what does it look like when you desecrate? I'll tell you what the site is. The site of green grace you find is you find a clearing. No, a ruined shrine overgrown with vines bearing scale-shaped thorns. And you might even see a couple of like green embers praying at it.
Oh, okay.
So what do you do?
Well, I was hoping to do this without green embers watching me because I didn't want to directly start a fight.
Oh, I think that it's probably. I think we're probably doing the light move then.
Okay.
If you wait for them to be gone, it'll be the light move.
Okay. Yeah. That's more Nazelle's style. I'm
Okay.
not trying to start a fight.
Then let's take a look at the move text. It says, "When you do something risky or face something you fear, name what you're afraid will happen if you fail or lose your nerve."
Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm going to take one of these like unnatural stillborn like hybrid things, and I think if the thorns are big enough, I want to just like kind of like get it like ripped open on one of these thorns, like I'm making this into sort of like a sacrificial site, like crux druid style.
Yeah.
But not because they're already dead and everything. It's not a tree. But that's the idea, is I'm going to just sort of like rip it open and make a mess of it. And what I'm afraid will happen is that I timed this poorly and they're not as gone as I think they are, and then they'll want to start a fight or stop me or...
I think that's good. I was wondering if your cinder applies here, but I don't think it does because the thing is dead, right? So I think in this case,
if I can't find a dead one, I would kill a living one, but the dead one is my preference. It's easy.
I think in that case it's going to be we'll go with reason.
Okay. Regular roll, because I don't have the marked by the green embers condition.
No, you're
yet.
good. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. That is a 7.
On a 7 to 9, I'll tell you how your actions will leave you vulnerable. Yeah, it's going to be what I said. You will take like they won't like attack you right away, but they will notice what you do, and word will spread.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Take marked by the green embers then. Was there something you were hoping to accomplish like game wise, or is this just cool storytelling?
Yeah, Nazelle thinks this whole thing is bad, so like this is just cool storytelling.
Love it.
Like you
Good.
got unnatural animals, you got unnatural nature, like not about it.
Indeed. You eventually make your way to the ruins of Castle Breaken, a place you have stopped at before. We've been telling the story of the last stand at Castle Breaken as they face down these terrible Malgaunts. And we now have our third prompt here, which I'll read to you. Each of you in turn will narrate a flashback to the evening before the battle with the Malgaunt. How do the men and women of Castle Breaken find comfort and courage in each other here at the end of all things. We'll take a break so you can think about that. Also start thinking about your solution to the threshold question for the Whitewood. So we'll take 10. Okay, we're back. Let's go ahead and do this journey prompt. Please narrate a flashback to the evening before the battle with Malgaunt. How do the men and women of Castle Breaken find comfort and courage in each other here at the end of all things? Whoever wants to start, please do.
We see Dame Ygritte. She's walking down these like very tight spiral staircases made completely out of stone. She's holding what seems to be some sort of stew soup made from whatever is left after all this time besieged. She makes her way to a room. All rooms now, the doors are always open. Everything is basically blocked stockage. There's no more real privacy in rooms. Everybody's just waiting. There's no point. But tucked against the wall sits Sir Merrick. He has his hands over his ears, and from outside we can hear these Malgons with the voices of the missing calling out. And we hear a voice loud and clear calling for Dad, calling to please come out. Please just help him. He's scared and it's cold and it's dark. And just come out. And he has his hands over his ears. He's cowering and shivering, and his eyes are closed tightly, and he just doesn't move as the voice calls out, "Please help. Please help. I'm scared." And Ygritte walks towards him, puts the bowls down, and very gently puts her hands over his, covering his ears. He doesn't look up, eyes still closed, and she leans down to put her forehead against his. And there they stay for a while, until finally he opens his eyes and reaches for the food. One way or another, it'll all be over soon.
I think huddled in one of the large common rooms, packed with the survivors under siege, are a small group of young children who've been kept as much as possible at the center of their elders. And one little girl can't stop sobbing. Her sobs are so loud, so choking, that you can see visible anxiety cascade throughout the rest of those gathered for comfort as the siege pounds the walls. And an old, bent grandmother slowly makes her way through the crowd towards the child's sobs, and comes and on arthritic knees bends low, turns the child's heaving, sobbing, crying face towards her, and begins first with a whisper and then with a bit more cadence, an old folk song that every soul gathered in the common room knows. And within a few moments, the child's sobs stop, and the other children come towards the grandmother and begin to pick up the verses of the song with her. And within minutes, the room itself begins to thrum with a rhythm of throats and clapping hands and tapping feet, like hearts beating in the dark. And within a few more minutes, it catches throughout Castle Breaken like a great rallying cry of ancient folk song of common people standing against the inevitable. So much so that the Malgons at the walls briefly pause their siege, taken back by this spirit of hopefulness that seems to have rallied their enemies, perhaps enough to hold out for another night.
In a smaller chamber just to the side of that large community room where the noise of the singing is rising up, there's a gathering of women, the mothers of many of the children in the community space, and they're gathered around a kitchen table, and there's one herbalist who is explaining the herbs that she has, explaining how they grow and how the toxins in them work, how quick they would be and how painless they would be. And as she explains, she passes these around, and all of the mothers take some, pocket them, because sometimes the best hope that you can have is an alternative.
This is a safe place for make camp purposes. Make camp says when you and any other number of embers settle down to rest, you can tell a pleasant story from the time of the old fire or do your ritual. If you do, clear an appropriate condition or unmark an appropriate aspect, your choice. Then, as a group, you discover a clue for an active mystery and tell me what it is. And so I'm going to turn it over to all of you. If you want to trigger make camp, you certainly can. If at any point you want to slip off, Alina, to go, or Nazelle to go do your dark crux druid business, you can do that as well. But the scene is yours.
I think, as always, Gavin will sort of walk around and whatever like old candelabras or like old stuff that might be used to burn is left, he will light. Um, I think almost ritualistically, I think even if there's something that won't catch fire, he'll still make the motions as if it is a candle that will burn. And I think it is like also just to have something to do as he sort of looks around camp. And I think he keeps like opening his mouth like he's going to speak. And I think he keeps like wanting to ask about Shelv and what the others think, but then he feels so ashamed that he just forgot for 3 years. And he can't, and he closes his mouth again and lights another candle and awkwardly continues the whole time doing this.
Given that we don't have Sir Denebray or Shelf with us, and they were kind of the people who were good at making camp last time we were here, I think Nazelle has taken on the role of like trying to create some sort of food, which is basically just gathering things that she knows to be edible, and she just doesn't know what to do with them. So she's like at the campfire in the center with some things and like hesitantly like, do I combine these? Would that work? I don't know.
I think Old Smoke will engage in his ritual of becoming one with the shadows, particularly after he watches Nazelle's bad attempt at trying to bring together a camp meal with terrible ingredients.
It's probably like wretched, like acorns and like,
Yeah, they're edible.
Yeah.
There was nothing left the last time we were here, and that was a decade ago. So I can only imagine how well it's improved. So Old Smoke becomes one with shadows and has his eyes about the place.
What kind of shout towards the shadow that used to be Old Smoke and be like, does that mean that you don't want anything to eat?
The shadows say nothing. I'm imagining maybe if I can move the shadows in to see if I can quelch the fire entirely.
Subtle.
I think now, sort of like left alone, Gavin will awkwardly approach Nazelle and say, okay, I think my mother used these, and like I'll take some of the herbs that you have, and I think if you boil them long enough, and maybe if we add this, and there's just like, he'll try to help you, and then after a while say, she made it look easy.
Mothers do that.
I also would
Oh,
like to point out this is probably the first meal you've had in years.
It's gonna be so good just because of that. We have nothing to compare it to anymore. I think when you say that, Gavin sort of pokes at the fire to make the flames catch a little and say, "Do you remember her, your mother?"
of course. You can't forget something like that.
Will you tell me of her?
What is it you want to know?
I suppose I want to know what you will tell me of her.
She ran a large house with a large farm for many years after my father left. She was very strong. What do you remember of your mother?
Not much in individual actions. I was young when I joined the order. I suppose where you remember strength, I remember that she made cooking look easy. I remember that she always made me feel like it was going to be all right. And I don't think that was true. I think maybe sometimes we weren't doing very well, but she wouldn't let me see it. And I'm grateful for that, I suppose. You get to see plenty of it when you grow up.
Hmm. How old were you when you joined the order?
Age well, it seems strange to talk about age now. And I shadow like gestures at the world. I don't know if time makes any sense to me anymore.
Suppose that's true. I'll go fetch some water to boil these.
And I think as you leave, there's like a moment of awkward silence, and Aini just blurts out, "Thank you for years ago. Uh, thank you."
Right.
Old Smoke, were you watching that or were you somewhere else?
Oh no, I'm watching that. I'm the
They're,
kindly man.
indeed, you are. They're getting ready to kind of like break apart. I'll also tell you that you're aware of someone else in the vicinity of Castle Breaken. you might first be aware of, well, of the smell of smoke, actually. But
Not the camp.
you don't see a fire, and it's not your camp's fire. What do you do?
Well, I'm one with shadows, so I will investigate. I feel like I can move pretty freely. I will, as deftly as I can, stay in shadow to shadow towards where the smell is emanating from.
Let's go ahead and do we'll keep it the day move for now, or not the day move, the light move, just because you're still under the aegis of the safe make camp. And let's just, what are you afraid is going to happen if you fail, if you get seen?
Um, I, I am afraid that, given where we're at, that there is the lingering host of the Malgons,
Oh,
and that perhaps this is a um, preternatural smell of the burning of the siege past.
oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yep. Some of the former inhabitants, all of the I don't know, eldritch energy that's been left behind by that brutal slaughtering of the innocents.
It does pose an interesting question, doesn't it? Like, are there still Malgants, right? We know that the people of Castle Breaken are gone, but are the Malgants here at all? We haven't seen any yet. And so have has so much time passed that even they have passed into legend? Who knows? But I think because of the kindly old man, I'm going to make you roll Cinder. So,
Okay.
and for reasons that are only known to me right now, you're going to roll at disadvantage because of Mark by Lady Verdanth.
Oh, okay. Oh, that is 6.
You find yourself following this smoke away from camp. Even if you wanted to call for the help of the others, they wouldn't be able to hear you at this point. You follow the smoke, and at first it's not a bad thing. You see Lady Verdanth. She's on her knees. Apparently enough years have passed to where she's fully recovered from her injuries. There are no other Emerald Knight guards, it's just her. And she is standing, or she's kind of kneeling, not in front of not in front of a campfire, but in front of a brazier. And she's kneeling in front of this brazier, and she's burning things. She's burning symbols of her order, basically. Bits of her cloak, like bits of her cloak, maybe like a little like medallion, something like that, right?
Does she seem aware of my presence yet?
No. And she's burning them, but she's not letting them like catch fire as such. She's just letting them smoke, right? And she says, "You are called Old Smoke. I do not know if this is going to reach you. I don't know why you are called that. But I have not been able to stop thinking about you ever since that night." And you get the impression that she comes out here to places where she knows you've been, and she just does this periodically. Whether there's a connection to your name and actual smoke or not is she doesn't know, but that's what she's doing.
Well, there is that, so that that was my rune ritual, is that the common folk tell their secrets and then ask me for favors, right? So
Yeah.
this,
So she's kind of maybe picked up on something. Like there's something swimming around in there, you know? That's all going fine.
except I'm very suspicious. This is not the woman who I met.
It's been a lot of years, right? before you can react or confront her or respond in any way, you do notice there is something else in the shadows converging on her position. I need to be reminded from the group, because I don't recall, what did the Malgaunts look like in the recollections?
I,
They
I mean, they could have changed, I suppose, but I don't remember what
Yeah.
they were.
I only remember that they spoke with the voices of the missing. I
Yeah,
don't
they
remember
spoke
what
with
they
the
looked
voices of
like.
the
Oh, I
missing.
love it. I'm going to run with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
on the faces, they came through mirrors.
they were just
yeah,
monstrosities. Yeah.
this permutation of the Malgaunts, you can see these shadowy figures. Lady Verdanth is aware of them and draws her sword. And when these shadowy figures begin speaking, they don't speak with the voice of monsters. They don't speak with like the voice of ghouls or spirits. They actually make the sounds of the people dying at the walls of Castle Breaken. You can hear, it's almost like as they speak, you can hear like battle cries. You can hear like people like confessing their love at the end of all things. You might even hear underneath it that little conversation between, was it Egret and the child in the soup, right? They're converging on her and she's got her weapon drawn. What do you do?
um, I I am going. Do they seem like they have seen me? Are they aware?
Unclear.
I have a piece of equipment that I think will work very well here. So I've got the Moonlight Shroud, and I would like to use it. It has one aspect that hides the living from spirits and the restless dead, and it has another aspect that masks breath and heartbeat.
Okay.
And what I'd like to do is I'd like to wrap it around me and use the aspect to hide from the spirits and restless dead, and then also wrap Lady Verdanth in it and use that aspect to mask her breath and heartbeat.
Oh, I see. So basically just to escape essentially or to fight them off.
Almost consume her in my
Got it.
shadows.
Oh, I love it. It's good. This will be the dark move. This will be with Cinder because you're hidden. This will be with disadvantage because of marked by Lady Verdanth again. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
That my best attempt to hide her will reveal both of us, and we will be laid upon and perhaps destroyed because my allies don't know where I'm at.
It is worse than that. The Malgaunt will then descend on the original site of their plunder, Castle Breaken. This is all great. If you wish to continue, you only need to mark one of the aspects to, I guess, presumably to cancel out the disadvantage.
I will do that.
Which one are you going to mark?
I'm going to mark.
Or alternatively, you know what you could do? If you can make a case for one of your aspects clearing the marked by Lady Verdanth condition, because remember they can auto clear conditions, you could then you could then mark one of the cloak ones to get advantage on the roll. So that's another thing. I can't hear you, Ken. You're muted.
My bad. I'll use it masks breath and heartbeat in the moonlight cloak to clear my condition for Lady Verdanth.
Okay,
And
how does that help?
um, because I'm specifically using that to hide her.
Her. Okay, I'll take it. It's good enough. I'll take it. Um, in any case, it negates the kind of the penalty, right?
And I'll use the other aspect for protection from the undead
Okay.
for myself and her in the cloak
Okay.
to get the bonus. Does that make
So you
sense?
mark those two. You mark those two aspects. You clear the condition, and you get to roll with advantage. It's still a
Yay.
cinder, but
That is with Cinder, it's -1, 8.
8. We'll come back to this. Nazelle and Gavrin, did I guess we got a pleasant story out of that. Do you all want to keep the scene going to make a case for condition clearing or aspect clearing, or do you want to make your case now?
Jazzy, do you think that they're going to discuss that anymore? Or do you think that's it?
I
That's
think
final.
that's up to Nazelle. I think Gavrin's always up for talking about his feelings. But I don't know if Nazelle, I think like his like thank you was him like trying to initiate that conversation. So I'll leave it up to you if Nazelle's like, that was it. Don't want to do more than that. She can walk away. He won't chase her necessarily.
Right.
Um,
I
so
think she'll probably circle back to that conversation, but it's probably like after she's fetched water and the things have boiled and we've been like sitting here for like 20 minutes. So like an extensive time has passed and
yeah,
like restarting the conversation, apropos of nothing. So, do we want to do that now or just jump in?
sure.
Please do.
Okay. The thing, the thing that was below the earth there. I recognized some of the faces on it. All of the faces on it.
Who were they?
I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe I didn't recognize them. Maybe it was just that place, that thing. Maybe it wasn't real.
It was real. Who were they?
The dead. They're the faces of the dead. I suppose that covers everyone now, though, doesn't it?
Well, there seems to be plenty of not quite dead.
When you woke up on Elegy, did you feel that you had a purpose?
Of course. The old fire brought us back. That has always been my purpose.
And you never doubt.
Well, it is not wrong to doubt. How can you know that your faith is strong if you never test it? If you do not doubt, you are not strong of faith, you are simply stubborn. Even amongst our orders, there were those who saw the fire differently. I did not always agree with who I suppose you would call our leader, although the hierarchy was not quite like that. And he definitely did not always agree with me. But I think that was the beauty and the strength of it, right? We were all there to serve the fire, all there to bear the light, and yet we all found different ways to do it. And I'm sure that how I brought light to people was not always the way that they needed it. So that's why we had other people that could bring it to them in a different way.
That's right. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lapse into awkward silence.
Yeah, just Gavin like, oh, I did it. Hold on. He's just, I think, like just delightfully, like kind of smiling to himself and trying to make Nazelle not notice.
What do we think of conditions and aspects?
I think I have cleared a condition. I think that because Nazelle didn't say this to Gavrin, but the thought process there was like, well, the land did speak to me when I came back, and therefore all of these things were true, and I don't have to worry about all of these horrors that I was shown in the midst of the
Mm-hmm.
struggle and everything. So I would like to clear the curse at House Durellen.
Oh, very good. Gavin?
I think Gavin will clear the Lost Queen. I think it's more so time and also like having talked about it, I think he feels no more need to like pursue that. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think he's like, yeah, that wasn't the thing. I can let it go. It's been literally years. It's fine.
It feels good. Also, as a group, we get to define a clue as well. Be thinking of that. The complication on this roll, Old Smoke, is going to be that you and Lady Verdanth are trapped in a private pocket dimension for a time. If you're okay with that, we'll proceed, or you can stoke the fire to bump up the roll.
I had a question for you about that. Can I also use my new shrine aspect to bump it up?
Yeah, whenever you stoke the fire, you can mark the old fire, the fire to come, or the shrine's fire.
Because I think the shrine fits really well here. My shrine fire is narrate a flashback where you were summoned for help in exchange for a whispered secret and now regret the task you agreed to perform.
Fantastic. You don't actually get to narrate it until the next session, but
It fits very
yeah,
nicely
I think it
with
fits. Yeah, it definitely fits. It's up to you. I mean, it's not like a huge penalty. It's just you're trapped in a pocket dimension for a little while with Lady for Death.
Well, actually, that's an interesting storyline. Maybe I should tease that out.
It's a thought. It's not. There are much worse roles to come that might require your your fire prompts.
Could be both comical and quite stark, depending on how things go. Let's be trapped in a pocket dimension with Lady Verdant.
I think everything works as you described it, and just as these like shadowy, as the shadowy Malgaunts are converging, the two of you just disappear. And you find yourselves in this like, it's almost like a, it's like a chamber with a stone floor, and there's no telling the boundaries of it because there's just a single shaft of light illuminating the two of you in this chamber. And she's very startled still. She still has her weapon drawn, right? And she says, what's going on? What? And then she sees you and she says, and she drops the blade almost like in shock. And she says, you came. You finally heeded my call.
Your ladyship called me from the void, and from the void I came.
I suppose then you come when at the moment of greatest need,
That
and
is,
not earlier. Where are we?
we are put aside, I like to say, in a pocket of shadows.
Interesting. It doesn't seem like there's much to do.
There's even less when there is but one. This is a great diversion to have a companion.
If only my whetstone had come with us, I could sharpen my blade.
I seem to recall that you were burning your belongings.
She gets this look of like embarrassment, maybe even shame. And she says, yes, I was. I have cast off the symbols of my office. I no longer consider myself a part of the Order of the Emerald Knights. I no longer consider myself loyal to Noxiliacs. For many years, I have been thinking of this. 300 years ago, by my reckoning, when Noxiliax could no longer bear fruitful clutches, he turned his face from us, we knights who had served him so faithfully since the time of the old fire. He just left us here in the forest of the Dimning. He ceased granting visions, no more blessings, not even commands. For centuries, we just did what we were meant to do. We did our patrols. We went through our routines. We practiced our swordplay. We shined our armor. We did drills. And we just interpreted his silence as sacred withdrawal. The dragon's grief was almost like a holy charge. But in all that time, we hear nothing from the dragon. Nothing. And now I see how the land is starting to become poisoned. And I just can't do it anymore. And I have wanted to call you. And so I heard tell that the way to do it was to create smoke of emotional resonance.
I am honored that you would put your faith, shall we say, in such tales.
Do not be honored.
I am humbled then.
Do not be humbled just because someone who cannot keep her vows calls to you. That is the behavior of someone who is lost, who does not know what is next for her.
Or is it the longing of one who craves duty to remake certainty and order, who speaks to another who's devoted his long life to trappings that have long faded and fallen to ruin?
I will admit that ever since that day or night, I don't even remember now, when we met in the Rose Court and you showed me your mercy, I saw some truth there. Something that your shadowy veil could not hide. Perhaps I am meant to just flit between people to be devoted to. Or perhaps I am meant to walk alongside someone for once. What say you?
I say I welcome another traveler on a like journey to my own. And I say a companion that knows the great Warum will be a boon to my companions as well.
She gets very close to you. Am I to just be a tactical advantage then?
Perhaps more.
Interesting. We can fade to black here. Please take the condition marked by Lady Verdanth. Any thoughts on this clue that can be for any of the mysteries?
You think I was having thoughts when I was happening, Jason?
Fully distracted. Fully distracted.
Jason, come on. Not a single thought in my brain. Let's see.
I do still want to.
You want to do your crucifixion, I know. Yeah. I haven't forgotten about that. Well, we have time to think, so let's do the crucifixion scene. So you'll slip off Naziselle at some point. You are in the lands. You might even go back to the sacred tree where where was it Sir Kalen was there?
Sir Kalen.
Yeah. Who are you hoping to call? Who are you hoping shows up? Who answers
Sir
the call?
Denebray.
Sir Denebray. Interesting. I need
Mhm.
to be reminded how we left Sir Denebray because I had two campaigns going at the same time when we were doing that. So what was his deal?
Yeah, he challenged Shelf to a duel over
Remember that?
Periwinkle's affections, and
Yeah.
then we all went to this camp
You had a group
together.
camp. Yeah.
Yeah, group
Yeah.
camp. And then we parted ways with Sir Denebray and Periwinkle, but we know
Periwinkle went
that
to the tower.
Periwinkle has
Yeah.
gone to Elegy and Sir Denebray has not.
Okay,
So,
good. That's fantastic. Let's go ahead and read the move. Do not let me hang
oh,
alone.
yeah, before we do that, can I also mark an aspect to clear a condition?
Sure, which one?
Shaken Faith. I think it is related to the conversation that she just had with Gavrin, and I'm going to mark on Harrow the Martyr Catcher can only be satisfied if the whole world hangs.
Okay, nice. Reaffirm via Harrow the Martyr
Yes.
Catcher.
Thanks so much, Gavrin. I feel much better now.
I'm back to being evil.
Yes.
Very good. When on a journey, you can say that a named side character or supplicant meets you in secret. If you do so, say who it is, and then roll a cinder.
All right, so I'm rolling. Ah, no, that's a 5.
A 5.
Mhm.
On a miss. They have not yet learned their martyrdom, and or they are there to kill you, and you'll have to roll the dark move in order to make them an oracle. And also, they're going to be a really bad oracle because they're only going to have one health box, unless you're bumping that up. But
Yes, no, I'm not dealing with bad oracles anymore. I'm stoking the fire.
old fire, fire to come, or shrine's fire.
Old fire.
All right, we'll deal with that next time. For now, though, you're there at the sacred tree. Is Sir Kalen's body like his are his remains still there, or like what's going on? Do you have to do anything to prepare the tree?
The body has decayed at this point, all except the bones, and I think the tree has grown around them a bit. So if they're not immediately evident unless you know what you're looking at. His gear is still there though, because I had to take some of his armor off in order to actually crucify him, and I think that is still at the base of the tree,
Oh, good.
weathered but present.
Mayhaps I am wrong, but it seems to me that there used to be a great warrior here, bound to a tree, perhaps, suffering, dying a death most ignoble. Do I have the right of it, Tree Witch?
You have a few points wrong. Not so
Oh,
great a warrior, and not an ignoble death.
mayhaps this is open to interpretation.
Mayhaps you'll come to see things my way.
Oh, I have seen things, Naziselle of the Red Canopy. First, I want you to tell me what has happened to Periwinkle, who has been gone from my side all these years.
Periwinkle
Let's take a
has,
let's take a quick paint the scene.
yeah.
Looking at Sir Denebray now, having passed, he's still in his like shiny golden lion armor. He's got all that. He's going to maintain standards, but how do we know he has been pining for his lost love this whole time?
I think he has like around his arm, there's like this very like frilly, lacy fabric that is very clearly like something that Periwinkle would wear or would like, around his shoulders as he prances around. And one gets the idea that maybe Periwinkle like kind of like was like, okay, I'm bored with this now. You have it. And that Sir Denebray was 100% like a token from my loved one. I shall wear it forever. And it's sort of like has been very like proudly wearing this and doing all these deeds in Periwinkle's name, hoping that Periwinkle would hear and be reminded of the love that they shared.
I think he's allowed some of the blight rot, almost as if in memory of Periwinkle, particularly where the blight rot looked like beauty spots on Periwinkle's face. He's cultured parts of his face to take on the same rough, rotten hue that his lover had.
He's found a ring that looks very similar to the one that we saw in the first time that we met Sir Denebray and Periwinkle. Periwinkle had a ring and was like, maybe you can give this to me. And he's found not that ring because we took it, but a very similar ring, and he's wearing it on a chain around his neck for when he meets Periwinkle again.
Let's continue the scene. He draws the lion blade, and he says, and he's posed his question, like, where is Periwinkle? What do you say?
Periwinkle has what he always wanted, which is to become quite beautiful. And then I'll gesture to the bones that are embedded in the tree to imply that I have killed him.
Oh, he's enraged. He says, "Oh, tree witch, you have unleashed the rage of the lion. The fury of the pride is about to descend upon you with great rending fury. I would say draw your weapon so this would be a fair fight, but it won't matter. It will not be a fair fight under any circumstance, and I care not for honor in this moment. Do you have any last words?" "Quiet, I care not." And he lunges forward.
Rock and roll, let's do it.
This is a dark move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail right now? Or how do you defend yourself, first of all?
Feign, pull Harrow, try and probably catches like Shin as he's like going past me, so that I can like, hamper him a bit. And yeah, Naziselle doesn't fight fair, so.
What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I think he's going to like skewer me onto the tree.
Yeah, that's not great. I think he will also then uproot the tree so no one else can be defiled in this way.
I'm not even going to die on a living tree.
He'll even make it his mission to go and like tear up these trees. His new quest on his way to the throne of the Hidden King. This is going to be with I think we're in Vitality territory here.
I think might be Cinder, but it's the same score for me either way. But
yeah, I was thinking of Cinder. Pain properly placed sanctifies the world. I think this is too sudden and I think it's just a brutal, violent action.
Okay. I would like advantage. Let me take a look at my aspects.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to mark on the Tenderbark Confessor the most exquisite pain known to man or beast, and get advantage in this fight.
Oh, in that case, I probably would switch it over to Cinder then, but like I said, it's the same score.
Yeah, so. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let me... That is a 10.
Nice. Describe the process of putting Sir Denebray on the tree.
Yeah, so I get his shin, and then when he's limping, that's when I can switch from Harrow to the Tenderbark Confessor and really like just kind of get in there. I'm like looking for the places in his armor as he's moving and still trying to fight, the places that I can get beneath his armor and start to like tear at his skin before we're even like out of the fight. And eventually he's bleeding and he's lost a lot of blood and everything, and he just starts to get kind of woozy on his feet. And so that's where I can actually like disarm him, so get his weapon away from him and then pull him up to the tree. And then so I'll do my work crucifying him, right? Like weaving the nails between his veins so that he's like, properly up there and not going to die too soon. Um,
I
and
like the idea that the tree like actually takes root in their veins a little bit, right? Like
yes,
that's yeah.
yes, yeah, maybe not immediately, but like yeah, definitely. Yeah, and so I'm creating those opportunities, creating those gaps where the tree will want to like grow into it. Uh, Also taking off the pieces of armor that are kind of getting in my way as we're going. And before I leave
The
him,
whole time he'll be like as he's in pain, strapped to the tree, as you're like removing his armor, and he's like all like kind of like delirious. He'll say things like, "How dare you touch the lion guard armor? You are not worthy, witch." That kind of thing, right?
I'll be sure to put it in the mud, like specifically. Um, and then before I leave, I will tell him that I was lying about Periwinkle. So I
Ouch.
will, I will say uh, that Periwinkle hasn't joined you yet, but time works strangely here.
Hmm. I think he's unconscious for now. Do you get to actually do the move actions as well?
No, I have to come back to this journey
Whether willing or
later.
unwilling, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, you can't get the clue one because he hasn't had time to like, have this tree speak to him. But I do.
You're gonna like let me take a body part?
I think you take a body part. Yeah, why? I don't see why not. I mean,
Okay.
if you're
Yeah,
willing to
the
mark three
text
boxes, yeah.
says while on a journey that has an oracle, and I suppose it does now have an oracle. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. How do we want to handle that? I think it's okay if you want to do it. I think it's fine.
Sure, yeah.
I think the clue one is the one that you can't do because there's not been enough time. But
I'll totally take a body part from him. Um, what do I
what do you
want to take?
take and what do you replace it with?
Uh, I think I want to take like a spider web of veins out of him. So it's like yeah. Sorry, Jason.
I love it. That's great. Really good.
So I'm gonna make like an incision, and then I'm gonna kind of like trace that up along his veins and be like pulling them out as I go. And what I'm replacing it with is like some vines from the tree, just kind of like
Oh,
moving
good.
those in their place.
That's gruesome. This is a good chance to do that paint the scene question. What's the paint the scene question about the land?
I Let me pull it up. It's how has the Crux Druid's right affected the land?
Yeah, so now we have like Sir Kalen and soon Sir Denebrae poisoning this land with this as oracles, or at least indirectly poisoning it via Nazelle. Let's paint the scene. Yeah, what? How do we see this? How's the land affected by it?
I think just after this particular ritual where Nicelle pulls the veins out and replaces them with vines, that flowing from that very spot that she performs her ritual at, the vines in the under tree canopy begin to turn waxy, resiny red, blue, and white, as if tendrils from a human body. And it courses out throughout the forest and weaves its way so that every once in a while a footfall or a hand brushing too close comes away with this slick red sap.
I think Sir Denebrae's rage bleeds into the land, and animals will attack each other for no reason, not to protect their young, not to protect territory, but just because they're full of anger and hate. And I think we see those green embers, some of the Emerald Knights, like they'll just have these really intense fights out of nowhere. You know, maybe we see some Emerald Knights at a campfire and one of them just stands up and starts yelling and shouting about all these petty grievances that really don't matter, that they have left behind them long, long ago, but there's just this anger in the land that can't go anywhere.
When I turned Sir Kalen into a martyr here, he knocked out some of my teeth. And I think on the trees in this part of the forest now, there's a new kind of fungus that's growing that
It looks like
has the
teeth.
appearance of bloody teeth.
Oh. Good. Old Smoke, you and Lady Verdant eventually are released from the pocket dimension. Lady Verdant will take up what's remaining of her gear, and she says she will come find you when it's time to face the dragon. And she bids you farewell for now. Everyone else, we should probably check in with this clue if anyone has any thoughts on it.
I do have a thought. I think that the way that the land reacts to the ritual that I'm doing can be a clue, because I think that we want to use the silver birch trees
Yeah.
for our upcoming Whitewood thing. So I think that
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, oh, I see. So like the idea that like you can feed blood to the birch trees and something will happen.
well, I was thinking, looking at our clues, I was thinking that because the birch trees showed up when the blue moon did, and the blue moon is always in the sky over the lodge, I think if we get the blue moon in the right position, the birch trees will like reach for it, and they'll be tall enough that we can use them to get to the
Oh, interesting.
lodge.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
that's interesting. That almost sounds like the answer, but yeah.
right. That was kind of where I was going theory wise, but that's only two clues, and I think like if we have this
Yeah.
idea that like the trees are like ready to kind of
I was
react to
thinking
The
things.
trees, like the clue could be the trees will reach for the blue moon, right?
Yeah, maybe the clue is something like trees reaching in the opposite direction of the wind or something, or in like an unnatural direction, something like that, where we're like,
Yeah.
oh, they're not just doing the thing, they're like
Yeah, yeah.
actually
Right.
reaching
The trees have
somewhere.
some kind of agency here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. I like it. Yeah, that's really good. Uh,
I was thinking something similar, that the other clues unlock a ritual to create the birchwood trees or the whitewood trees into a stair to the lodge
yeah,
itself.
I like the idea of a stair,
Hmm.
actually. It's pretty good. Well, sounds like we're getting pretty close to our solution then. So why don't we talk about that? Uh, I'll remind you that the question is the question is, how can the Silvercut Lodge be accessed? It's a complexity 2. The opportunity is to gain access to the Silvercut Lodge and the locations therein, and you unlock the next question. So you've got 7 clues total, including this new one that we just got about the birch trees are alive or are responsive to the blue moon physically. Which of the clues we're using and what to get to this answer, and what is the answer?
I said we were using all the clues.
Whoa.
It's a complexity 2. You only need
I
We
I
have
think
another question
probably
after it.
the Alaric's painting,
Here's why I
the
think
white roof birch trees first appear with the blue moon, and then the new one, the birch trees are responsive.
here's
That would
why
That
be
I
was
3.
my thought, but yeah,
Yeah.
Old Smoke. Where were you
Yeah,
going?
what are we thinking?
I think we can use all of them if we want to. So if we use it as a ritual and we get burial bindings to soak in quicksilver, that gives us 2. We get the position of the blue moon, and that brings in 3 more clues with the paintings, the birch trees themselves that have appeared and now reach toward the blue moon. So that's 5 right there. But I also think that if we use the bindings to sacrifice any once living creature in the blue moon, it will turn its eyes to crescent shaped, and they can see over long distances. So they will give us the proper direction that we need to have the trees point towards in the light of the blue moon. and we can use up all of our clues.
I'll just note here that the clues can be used for the next question as well. So
Jason, do we know the complexity of the next question?
it's 6, right? So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I want to save some because getting back to 6 clues is gonna take a while.
So let's use up the ones that we know have to be used for the
Yeah.
room. Fair
So
enough.
that's 3, so that'd be a +1 on the roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
So
the only other one, if we want an extra one, I think we can
you
use the
can
dark
also mark
arrows.
aspects. You can mark aspects too,
Yeah.
right? So
But yeah, the Luminarians arrows I would use as well. That fits here.
My idea was sort of the idea that I originally had is that you have to be at like the top of a birchwood tree, and then you shoot like one of those arrows to the moon. And it's not just like you can see long distances, but you can see long distances because you are traveling with the distance. Like it's kind of like a portal
oh,
arrow. So you shoot it to the moon, and then like somewhere in between the moon and wherever the lodge actually is like how you get there.
but what we're saying now is that the trees
Yeah.
react to that and create
Yeah.
a
So
stairway
maybe just
to the Silvercut
ambient
Lodge.
moonlight is not enough. We got to bring the moonlight to the trees so that they'll have this reaction, like with one of these arrows.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds more like the arrow allows a creature to see, not that we could shoot it to see.
But maybe it's the birchwood trees, right? Like maybe
I like the idea of shooting the arrow into a tree, and the tree reaches out towards the moon that we can't maybe even see in the sky.
that's possible too. Yeah. I mean, I think there's so like if we look at I've had some thoughts on this, not too many. I think the like real solid clues here are the one with the Whitewood birch trees are like intimately connected to the blue moon. When the blue moon was new in the world, so were they. So like that's a thing. That one's like unavoidably part of it, I think. Also that the birch trees are physically responsive to the presence of the blue moon. That does imply that they are going to bring you, or they're going to create a stairway or something like that, right? I think that makes a lot of sense. And then we have and then also the Alex paintings is just confirmation of the theory basically. And then I actually think the Dark Star arrows, I think what's kind of going on there is it's almost like if you fire such an arrow, like imagine if you had one of those arrows and you like took a cutting from one of the birch trees and affixed it to the arrow and then shot for the blue moon. That's almost like communicating with the birch trees what you want to happen, right? We're all kind of saying just versions of the same thing essentially, but I think that's the mechanics of it. Unless I don't know. That's my
I like
sense.
it.
I think the only other idea, if we want to go a slightly different direction, is I think we can use the scent of Quicksilver, and that I think the trees are like going to physically get there. And then like we either have to like have some birchwood cuttings drenched in Quicksilver like as a password, as like an entry, as like, yeah, you're physically there, but now you need to get in. Right?
Oh, the scent of Quicksilver is that's interesting. The Quicksilver is almost like a
not disguising as a luminous
password,
like,
essentially.
Yeah,
right?
like a password, right? Like I have
yeah.
the code, I have the scent, I belong here.
You got
I
a couple
think
of
we
issues.
could-
You guys don't have any Dark Star arrows, I don't think, unless you do.
I was going to suggest, rather than using the Quicksilver, what if the Dark Star arrows are carved from the branches of the Whitewood? What if we make a Dark
Oh,
Star?
you make one. Yeah, it's the same idea.
Yeah, I was
it's
going
essentially a
to-
version of what I was saying. Yeah.
The Quicksilver would replace the Dark Star arrow
Oh,
because indeed
in
we don't
place
have
of.
one.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so in place of.
I think I like the idea of like making the arrow from the birchwood, or otherwise incorporating the birchwood into the arrow. The Quicksilver may have that might have more relevance in the next question.
It's
That
a
will
pretty
leave it,
versatile
yeah.
clue, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure,
That would be a
that
plus
works.
2, unless anybody wants to mark an aspect to help us along.
I'm fine with a +2 for the threshold.
For a threshold question, yeah, that's not bad. Go ahead and whoever wants to roll that, please do.
Go for it, Jazzy.
Oh no, I mean, now I did say it, didn't I? I was so confident. Let's see. Okay, it's an 8.
You are
That's good
correct.
enough.
You are correct. I think that the only complication here is going to be that um, I'll just tell you out of character. The complication is going to be this is a little vague, I know, but essentially you're going to arrive at the site of the Whitewood and you're going to encounter a couple of problems in motion, we'll say. So you're not going to be able to get immediately to doing this. If you don't want to deal with all that, somebody can mark a cinder and then reinterpret the answer through your cinder.
I mean, I could, but I feel like it's narratively and thematically proper that, like 5 years have passed at
Yeah,
this
yeah, stuff is
point.
going on, right?
And we
Yeah, yeah,
left Shelf and like stuff is like, I don't know, that feels fair to me, but
yeah.
I don't know, yeah.
In that case, we'll take a quick break here in a moment, but before we do, I want to just tell you what you kind of find as you arrive finally after all these years away. You'll recall that the undead village, if I remember correctly, they had like built like a wall essentially of like old equipment and metal and stuff to like keep out the Luminians. And they still man that wall. That wall is still there. But you'll notice that in addition to the undead soldiers manning the wall, there are also members of the Nameless Legion manning the wall. So that's one thing to know. You'll see that in the distance as you approach. I think the Whitewood is always kind of like permanently night somehow. And so you'll kind of see that. You'll even see like it's kind of illuminated by the blue moon, right? You'll be aware of a couple of other things too. You hear somewhere in the woods singing. A woman's voice singing a song in a language you don't recognize. You'll also be aware, in a different part of the Whitewood, a group of voices, multiple people, kind of moaning and laughing. That's what you encounter as you arrive in the general vicinity of the Whitewood. Let's take just a quick 3-minute break, and then we'll come back, maybe do a scene, and then that'll be our session. So you've all arrived in the general vicinity of the Whitewood. You're aware of the things as I've described them. It's always night around here. The blue moon is not always very bright in the sky, but it is right now. You might even see in the distance in the sky the white glow of the Silvercut Lodge. There, I think you know you've arrived in the Whitewood, or you're about to, because you sort of arrive there wading through a silver fog that's so dense that anything that's beyond the length of your arm is a faded, hazy silhouette. And so it might be full daylight. And then suddenly this silvery fog descends. And as you pass through it, when it finally clears, then you are in the Whitewood Forest. And it's night, and you see the blue moon. You hear these sounds that I've described, these different things. I just want to go around the table and find out what everyone's doing. Catherine?
I think Gavin wants to find Shelf, but I don't know if that's possible, given that I was a player character. But I think like that's narratively what he wants to
No.
do.
So go
Otherwise,
to the Undead Village then.
yeah, go to the village and see what's up there.
Nazelle?
Nazelle doesn't want to do that because I'm worried that Shelf might be mad at me for having abandoned him here. So if Old Smoke is going somewhere else, then I'll go with Old Smoke. If not, then I'll go check out these noises, the sounds of laughter and whatnot from the woods.
Old Smoke, which of the things that I've laid on the map are you going to do? Or something else?
I'm guessing Old Smoke knows the legend that the Whitewood sort of grew out of, or grew up. The legend grew around the Whitewood in terms of the slaughtered battlefield and
Right. Yeah. That's another thing too. Yeah, there was this great war, right? Yeah.
And so there would just be a nagging curiosity of wanting to see if there's any elements of the past that he recognizes here. They're like heraldic emblems left behind, anything that would connect him to his history. So I think that he would be poking around perhaps in places he shouldn't go.
But I guess like what I want to know is, are you going to go to the undead village? Because there's lots of that stuff over there, right? Because that's where the soldiers they're all at all the undead ones.
He's not, I mean, he's not put on edge by the voices that we heard in the woods on the way in, even the cackling and giggling, just because it's what he has come to expect here.
Yeah,
He knows that there is some community of undead which sort of defy explanation.
yeah. Okay. So Nazelle, then what are you going to do?
I will go into the woods on my own. The woods don't scare me.
Are you going to follow the sound of the singing or the sound of the
Yeah.
the merriment?
The sound of the merriment, I think.
Okay.
And try and kind of edge up to that and get a sense of what's going on without revealing myself. We'll see how it goes.
You will see a group of undead, maybe about 5 or 6. They are cutting into the whitewood trees and drinking the white sap. The white sap is actually red like blood, and they collect it and they drink it. And you can tell as they're drinking it that they are experiencing a euphoria. It's like a drug to them. They have been slowly decomposing for centuries, right? So to you, like you can kind of see them like drinking the white sap, but like maybe one of them's drinking it, and you can see it flowing down his throat into his rib cage, right, and coating his ribs, and another one has to keep like catching it because his mouth like won't stay closed properly to like consume it, but they all start to become like rather delirious. But the thing that you pick up on, this is all just before you've done any rolls, the thing that you pick up on is they feel warmth again. As undead, they only feel cold, but by drinking the white sap, they feel the warmth of life. And then you are joined by someone else. A man, kind of a middle-aged man, wearing like kind of a long black velvet coat and breeches and a white powdered wig and like a tricorn traveling hat and lacy cuffs. He sort of like enters the scene as well. And I think the white sap drinkers are kind of vaguely aware of the both of you at this point, and they kind of like you're all pretty close to each other, not all together, but pretty close. And this new man, he turns to you and says, "Hello."
Well met.
"Oh, I don't think so. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Nocturnus of the Black Cortege. Now, I have been tracking undead abominations. Indeed, I tracked you and yours to this place. Can you even comprehend my joy at not just finding one undead abomination, but finding a whole conclave, a whole gaggle of them? Isn't that remarkable? Tee-hee."
Remarkable. I draw Harrow.
"Oh, I don't think we have to go to all that, do we?" And he slices open his palm, and his little knife, little tiny knife, and his blood from his hand begins snaking out into the air and starts to have like a white glow to it, a pure white glow. And it spreads in multiple places, these tendrils. One of the tendrils seizes you right, kind of like in your chest. You can actually feel the tendril doing battle with the small part of the old fire left inside you. The other little tendrils latch on to the white sap drinkers, and they're weaker than you. And you can see that as Nocturnus closes his fist and pulls on the tendrils almost like they're ropes, that he's pulling the life force out of the white sap drinkers. Whatever it is that keeps them animated, he is removing it. They snap out of their euphoria, and their heads whip back and their arms go slack, and they just wail as like their life force is drawing. Just, you can see it physically being pulled out. That's also happening to you. And we'll pick up with this next time. Let's go to end of session. All right, the end of session. Let's take a look at end of session questions and see how we did, shall we? Old Smoke. We have not yet resolved a mystery. Did you roll a cinder, Old Smoke? You did, didn't you?
Yeah.
You get an XP there. Did you slip past an enemy when fighting them was an option? Yes, you did. Did you relate a situation to the story of the mouse in the tower?
No.
All right, so you picked up 2 XP. Naziselle of the Red Canopy. Did you roll a cinder?
I did.
Did you demonstrate reverence for root, stone, or soil over law, crown, or creed?
I believe so, with desecrating the Lord's sites of reverence.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Did
they
you
were
spill
unnatural.
blood in a way that caused the land to respond? Yeah, you did. You pick up all 3. Gavrin the Everlit. Did you roll a cinder?
I did not.
Did you risk yourself to bring hope or illumination into a dark place?
Um, I don't think so this session.
Did you share your fire with another or take theirs from them? I would say so during the mid-camp,
Yeah.
the sort of metaphorical fire, figurative fire. Fantastic, you get 1 XP. Let's take a look at what's next. Who has to stoke the fire next time? Or has to
I
do a
do.
prompt?
I have an old fire to do next time.
Naziselle has an old fire. I think Old Smoke does too, if I'm not mistaken.
No, we discussed it, but then he took.
Oh, you
the
decided
water
not to.
extension.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it. Gavin, do you?
No, I do not.
Right, so just Naziselle. Fantastic. Let's go Stars and Wishes.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, just very happy to play again. I mean, obvious start to the Old Smoke Lady for then seeing that's my jam. That's my bread and butter. That's where I thrive. The whole time I was like, I can't believe Old Smoke is getting the Arthurian romance. I cannot believe this. No, that was great. Just a great way to bring her back in and shift that dynamic in a really cool way. General star for Jason, like the passage of time was really cool in this session to see how like all these people have changed or have like or in like Sir Danabre's case, like spiraled further into what we already knew of him. That was very cool. It really gave this sense of like, as soon as we saw Lady Verdant, there was like, time has passed and she has lived a whole life that we are not privy to, but we can immediately tell like it's not going great for her that she's doing all this. So that was really cool. Naziselle and Gavrin, I think it's so funny that they like keep trying to connect and then it's just sort of working, but not really. I think
Weird pseudo bonding. Yeah.
yeah, it's weird. It's so fun. It's just weird, and I love it. And I especially like the thank you And then Nizza like, okay, no, I'm noping out. I need at least a half an hour to deal with this. Like, I'm not ready for you, Gavin. Hold on. I felt like that was a small moment, but says a lot about them, where it's like, okay, I need to build up the mental fortitude to go talk to Gavin, and then I will, but whatever. Old Smoke, yeah, the Lady for that scene was very cool. Um, Wishes, I mean, I'm excited to be back in Mysteries to see what happened to the undead. I'm very interested to see like how the Nameless Legion, because it just occurred to me, if Shelf is either no longer seeking the Hidden Throne or dead, then the Nameless will probably never find peace. Because nobody's there to name them. And as soon as you were like, oh, they're on the palisade, I was like, oh, yay. Oh, no. That's horrible. So very excited for that. Very excited to have Gavin amongst these like well-adjusted undead. I think that will be an interesting contrast to maybe show how he is not as well-adjusted when he's not around freaking Nazelle and Old Smoke. Like by comparison, sure. Yeah, I think that's it. Just very excited to see how that goes.
I will jump in. I will throw a bouquet out to Gavin and Nacelle's on again, off again, um, push and pull tryst that seems to be happening. that that often they are the warmest around domestic or exchange of memories, and then they sort of like pull back when they get a little bit too close. It's very episodic TV, right? You want to lean in and go, come on, kiss or touch each other. And then Nacelle, to wash it off, goes and does something like horrifically cruel to go, oh, what was I thinking? I love it. It was great. It was great. I loved the our collective paint the scene for the Malgants and the memories at Castle Bregan was, I thought, was quite haunting and quite beautiful. Total stars to you, Jason, for so much rich RP this session. It was easy for Old Smoke to fall into something that looked like a setup from the beginning in a way that I didn't expect it the second time that you played that game with me with Lady Verdanth, so that was fun. But also just the way that you're inhabiting the NPCs who we've become familiar with, and to Jazzy's point, that they have grown over time in the most expected and yet unexpected ways, where many of us have sort of like grown with the experience of our characters in less stereotypical ways. They have kind of more rigidly fallen into their roles, almost like they've been lost on a loop. Anyway, I really appreciate that.
That's how it should feel. I'm glad that came across. So yeah.
That was really great, really fun. And for Wishes, I really hope, as you had described before we went on break, the sounds around the barrier, the walls of the Whitewood and the undead settlement. I'm imagining that somewhere in the center of this settlement is Shelf, illuminating and enumerating each member of the Lost Legion who have descended on the place. And that there's like long snaking lines of them waiting to be named in a great illuminated book, and that now Shelf has become one of the undead lost in this place, completely consumed with his scholarship. That's kind of what I thought. Oh, all the noises, of course, they've all congregated here. Anyway.
I want to give a star to Gavrin's Old Fire at the beginning. That was like really in-depth world building that we got from like a lot of different angles, and that was really cool. Also, Lady Verdanth, obviously, that was that was great. Jazzy and I were dying watching that play out.
We went at like exactly the same time.
Right, identical expressions on her face, like. And also Sir Denebray was really fun. I like his interactions with me during the crucifixion scene were just like top notch, top tier. I'm really excited to do my Old Fire next time. So Yeah.
Yeah, Star for Jazzy for the old fire narration. That was so good. It really set the tone, which is what happens now whenever we do that at the beginning of the session. It kind of really like sets the mood, and I just yeah, really rich world building, and it just was great. Um, I also really had a lot of fun like portraying side characters today. Lady Verdanth was a lot of fun. It was really one of those like classic like kind of CFB things of like okay, basically the way it happened was I was like, okay, well, Old Smoke is like kind of separate from the group right now. I need something to happen, like something's got to happen, you know? And so it's just a matter of like looking at conditions and being like, okay, well, here we have a condition, so I'll just use this condition as the inspiration for what's going to happen next. And so that is where it worked out great. And kind of the more we kind of got into the scene, I could kind of tell where it was going, and it was fun to do. Always love to see Sir Denebrae out in the world. I'm actually, as a wish, I'm kind of curious, like, I know how I played Sir Denebrae in the other campaign because Sir Denebrae got crucified in the other campaign as well, and so
He's just so crucifiable.
he really is. Yeah, he's kind of asking for it, I fear. But I'll be kind of I'm excited to kind of develop what that looks like over time because Sir Denebrae, I feel he that's a like I can't think of a character who is more brought low by being in a circumstance like that than him, right? And so like the way that experience, the horror of it would change anybody, but for him it's like particularly poignant, I think, and so I'm excited to see that. Um, Very excited to kind of reveal what happened to Shelf. I have an idea, so all will be revealed next time, I'm sure. I want to see how this Nocturnus fight turns out. Obviously, I think that's going to be great. And yeah, really excited to finally get into the Silvercut Lodge because that like changes the nature of the mystery entirely. It becomes like a really different thing once you get up in there. So it's a lot of fun. Just yeah, good time all around. Everybody did a great job today. Yeah, I second the stars for the journey prompt too. That was really fun. The castle break-in story. I This is another one of those instances where the game is doing exactly what I want it to do. Like I like that we get this castle break-in story in pieces over time. It makes it feel so legendary and like and really increases the epic scale. Related to that, I'm very happy that this sort of like time this time stretch is landing right like the reason why after hundreds of years the people of the lands remaining have not rebuilt their cities or anything is because they're all stuck. They're just like stuck and they're stuck, and the ones that have been around forever who are like not dead but also not really like alive in a sense, they have not been able to move on because they're not even driven by the normal sorts of things that drive people to create things, right? All they have is just their grievances and their fixations. And yeah, it's like they're in this like loop, they're in this stasis. The whole world is in this stasis, right? And so I'm happy that's coming across. It just makes the setting feel so eerie and tragic. It just has a tragic eeriness to it, which I love. So really happy with that. But anyway, yeah, no, super excited. It's we're calling this a playtest, but it's done. There's nothing to playtest in the game anymore. The game is done. At least like as a system anyway. I mean, obviously over time we'll kind of try out new embers and stuff, but as a system, like TLR is doing exactly what I want it to do. So yeah, very, very pleased with that part of it. Anything else before we go?
I just wanted to say real quick that I really appreciate that like Denebrae's love for Periwinkle is real. Because I
Yeah,
feel like it's so easy to be like, oh, this is this like pompous
yeah,
asshole who's
yeah,
like, like
yeah,
really high of himself. But I kind of like that there's like this endearing quality where it's like he is genuinely pining in like
yeah,
all of these
yeah.
years. And I think that also makes it really interesting that Periwinkle is like a supplicant and just like potentially like vibing with Nazelle while
Yeah,
Sir
yeah,
Denebrae is like suffering
yeah,
on a
and like
tree,
and like he didn't mention Sir Denebrae at all at the Morning
Yeah,
Tower, right?
he's
Didn't
just
come up
like,
once.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. He's like, oh, let me just parade around for Gavin now
yeah,
because
it's
you're
like
giving
look,
me
he's
attention.
like, look at this robe that the sisters found me.
Yeah.
Like Like,
It's so sad, and I'm like, Sir Denebray, please.
But behind the scenes, I was planning to crucify Periwinkle first. That was my plan. But then Gavrin went and cured him of bloom rot, and I was like, well, he's not going to be suffering enough. So then I had to pivot to Sir Denebray.
I mean,
who
that's
knew
why
I
you
could
have
make
to nail
suffer.
him to a tree, because now he's not suffering in real life anymore.
awesome. All right. Well, we're going to go for now. Say goodbye to people watching the video. Goodbye, people watching the video.